Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tamás Király. I'm from the press department of the Hungarian Foreign Ministry, and I will be the MC of today's press conference. In this capacity, first of all, I would like to welcome our speakers today, the three ministers who met in Budapest. The host of the meeting, Minister Janos Martonyi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Hungary, Radosław Sikorski, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland, and Orsat Miletic, Minister of Justice of Croatia. The three ministers met today in order to mark two outstanding events that are going to take place in the coming days. One is that Hungary is going to take over the presidency of the Visegrad 4 group from Poland, and the other is no less important. It's Croatia's accession to the European Union. First of all, I will ask the ministers to say a few introductory remarks, and then the floor will be open for questions. But before we move on, let me just kindly remind you that we have about 30 minutes until the ministers will have to go on for their next function. So now, without any further ado, I would like to ask Minister Martonyi to give his introductory remarks. Minister.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. I try to be very brief. So I try to be very brief. As it has been just said, we combine today two seemingly different events. One is a celebration for Croatia's becoming a member of European Union 1st of July. There'll be a concert later tonight. So this is one part of the today program. And of course, another thing is that Hungary is now taking over the presidency from Poland of the Visegrad 4 group. Again, on the same day, this is the 1st of July. Now, we combine these two things because we do believe that there is a strong link between the two. Croatia's becoming a member of the European Union is not just an all-European development, extremely important, by the way, but this is also very much relevant for our region, for V4, because we are fully convinced that Central Europe, that is the region, now becomes stronger within European Union, also on the global scene. We have a new member of the Central European family, which is getting stronger, which is getting more competitive, hopefully, and which is developing a type of solidarity which we very much need. After all the centuries of competition and rivalry, we now believe that there is now time for more solidarity, more cooperation. And after all, Visegrad 4 is the reflection or the expression of these ideas. So that's why we thought that we can combine these two things. I'm very happy that we could welcome my good friend Radek Sikorski from Poland, and also Orsat Miletic, our good colleague, Minister for Justice from Croatia. Just one last word about V4. I just underlined a couple of minutes before that we want to continue what was achieved by the Polish presidency. We all know that this has been an enormously successful presidency, most successful presidency without exaggeration until now in the more than 20 years history of our cooperation. If only we can continue and we can make some progress in all these important areas which I cannot list now, I think we will have a successful V4 and we'll have a successful presidency in about 1 year's time. We are open, we are inclusive, we always prefer the so-called V4+ formats, whether this is Croatia, whether this is Western Balkans, whether this is Eastern Partnership, whether this is the Baltics, whether this is some big powers like the Weimar group, or indeed the Japanese Prime Minister, as it was the case on the 16th of June, or indeed any other important player in the global scene. So we'll be open, we'll be inclusive also in the future, towards the rest of the world, but also towards our own peoples and our own public opinion.
Minister Martonyi, thank you very much. And now I would like to ask Minister Sikorski to give his remarks.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words about the Polish presidency. We indeed worked very hard to prepare our program and to make the best of it. And I'm officially, but also personally, very pleased that I was able to hand over the presidency into the safe hands of such an eminent European as Janos Martonyi, who is an anchor of Hungary's reputation in Europe. We've tried our best, and I think thanks to our cooperation, we got a better deal on the multi-annual financial framework in the EU than we would have got without our regional cooperation. We have also made energy security a central issue for the EU as a whole. 5-7 years ago, it was an exotic issue. Today, Europe, Commissioner Oettinger is speaking our language on energy issues, on needing to complete the market and create a competitive environment, particularly as regards gas. And here we need to do the work in our region, and I'm glad that our prime ministers were able to announce the roadmap to a regional gas market. We're very glad that some of the founding members have got used to the fact that the Visegrad Group collaborates and that our views need to be taken into account. And the meeting of our prime ministers with the President of France and the Chancellor of Germany was, I think, the completion of that process. We've been working to advance the agenda of Eastern Partnership, and there is still a chance for a huge success in Vilnius, which would be the signing of the association agreement with Ukraine and the completion of negotiations with Georgia, Armenia, and Moldova. But these countries need to redouble their efforts, particularly Ukraine. I was very glad that we were able to host both Cathy Ashton and Commissioner Füle in Krakow for our preparatory meeting in Krakow in May. And I'm very grateful to Janos for saying that he thinks that our agenda is a sensible one, and that after adding Hungarian points to it, it will be continued. That means that the method we've chosen, pre-coordinating with others what should be done, was the right one. Well, let me conclude by just saying that we are very glad that Poles feel the same as official Poland about Croatia joining the EU. I'm told there's a clip on YouTube shot by a group of Poles in December 2011 after you signed your accession agreement with the title of Dobrodošli, all the best. Well, Croatia is the destination of 600,000 Poles per annum. I hope this will only grow. Your people came to Poland, to Poznań and elsewhere for the Euro 2012, and I think it all confirmed the excellent relations between our countries. We regard our membership in the European Union as a success, we hope yours will be as successful.
Excellency, thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Minister Miljanic to make his own introductory remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, almost everything was said so far about Croatia and Visegrad Group here. For us, this is one of the crucial moments in our history, our accession to the EU. It took a long time, it was worthy, but on certain time, of course, we look at it as never-ending story, but finally it ended. We have undergone through significant reforms, and this is, as far as I remember, it is for the first time that one country enters the EU solely. So this is for the first time that only one country enters. It is not wave or a group of countries. For us, so on one hand, it is really a historical event. This is just, but we see it just as a tool. So it is not something that we have achieved and now that's it. We see it as a tool for a better life for our citizens and for achieving, I would still say, and point, not achieving, but preserving peace and stability. It is one of major pillars of EU, and we see it also as a one that, as those who should be mentioned and put emphasis on it. At the same time, we've been participating in V4 group as this plus very often, and participating in work of group in not as a group and in all sectors. And for us, we see it as a very important forum when we can share ideas, but also when we can promote our interests. And together with our countries, we are in a way stronger, and as it was mentioned, we are more visible. So it's to be here, and also there is a third day for us, because yesterday it was our national statehood day. So two very important days within a few days for Croatia, and this third one, this declaration that is also very important to us. So that's it. Thank you.
So, Minister Miljanic, Excellencies, thank you very much. And now questions, please.
You can ask questions in Polish or in Hungarian or in Croat.
My question to Mr. Miljanic, Polish television. What was the most difficult thing to go to join the? What have you done? What have you done the most difficult thing to join the EU?
Well, it's there are a lot of difficult things. So, but okay, perhaps the most difficult sector was justice and this rule of law. So it is within my jurisdiction. Of course, I'm just one of the ministers that was in charge, and my predecessors they did even better job, more important job before me, and it was for me to finish it. But I would say in general, on one hand, it was to keep a right mindset of the people, because really process took long, and by that there were a lot of doubts among people that was raised along that path. So to keep it and to keep it as a positive thing, that was perhaps the hardest, but we succeeded in that. So it took, I would say that in general, it took, so this length of time was very difficult to overcome. We are entering at a time of crisis also, so to keep that. But so we succeeded in both fields.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Polish Radio. I have the questions both to Mr. Sikorski and to Mr. Martonyi. What the V4 group will do for Croatia, since the Croatia will be within the next couple of days the member of the EU. What will be the next steps in supporting Croatia? Because we all know that joining EU is not the end of the line; it's the beginning of this journey.
Well, I hope Croatia. I hope and I'm confident that Croatia will join in our Visegrad Plus initiatives and will do for the rest of the Western Balkans what we've done for Croatia, which is to help to complete the job, to finish the business left undone by the wars of Yugoslav succession, and to make the Western Balkans permanently safe for Europe and for their own people.
Yes. Yes, I think one point is that we will have to cooperate in some peculiarly interesting areas or important areas, like enlargement, Western Balkans, but also we'll have to cooperate even more intensively in the field of, for instance, energy policy. I just mentioned a couple of minutes before that this north-south interconnection will have to be developed and one day hopefully completed. And in my dreams, I have a picture where we have a functioning LNG terminal in Świnoujście, Poland, and also in Krk, Croatia, and both are now interconnected, and we have a single energy market also for the region, a competitive market with hopefully much lower prices and much less dependence on a single source. So that's just one example. But we also offer cooperation in other areas to our Croatian friends. Croatia is a new member. We have been members, we will have been members next year for 10 years. It will be a 10th anniversary. So we are at their disposal to help them with advice, with opinions. Of course, advice is perhaps a strong word, but in any case, we are ready to share with them our experiences, even if, of course, times are now different from those times that existed 9 or 10 years ago. But I think that given the fact that after all, negotiations were concluded at the time of the Hungarian presidency of the EU. Accession treaty was signed at the time of the Polish presidency of EU. So we both have perhaps had a special role in speeding up and in the completion of the accession process of Croatia, no doubt very long, I wouldn't deny that. So now we are in the same institutional framework, and we are responsible for those who are not yet in. And that was also the point made by Radek Sikorski the other way, I mean, just a minute before, and I think that this is again something which we have to bear in mind.